Nivedita, are you there?
Yes, sir. Sir, shall we start?
Okay. Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, Nivedita. How about you?
Ma'am, I'm doing good.
Yes, so we can, technically start. I think if everyone is in, we can just go ahead with it.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to all. I, Nivedita Tulsian, research scholar at School of Management, NIT Rourkela, welcome you all to the sixth day of our FTP titled Earthwise Transforming Climate Action and Sustainability for Better Tomorrow. I am honored to warmly welcome Dr. Anjali Bapna, who is a distinguished psychologist specializing in clinical psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, mental health, and mindfulness, and the director owner of Ignited Mind Netherlands. A renowned Indian origin woman, entrepreneur, and cultural integration specialist, she brings over 20 years of experience in training and clinical psychology, working extensively with corporate professionals across Europe. Based on the in the Netherlands, Dr. Bapna leads her own training and coaching organization and serves as a guest faculty member at VN University Amsterdam, where she lectures on mental health and well-being. Her expertise encompasses student wellness, stress management, intercultural communication, and integration training. Dr. Bapna is a member of Dutch Association of Psychology NIP and Certificate NLP, mindfulness and CBT practitioner. She is passionate about fostering mental wellness and cross-cultural understanding. We are highly honored to have you here with us for the session, ma'am.
Yeah, it's my privilege indeed to be here. So I love trainings, and of course, it would be a great session. I'm looking forward to it.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, please go ahead.
I'm just trying to share the document. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I know for me it's morning, but for you guys, it's quite afternoon over there. So very good afternoon to all of you. So today we have a session on mindfulness. So that is what I will be running you through. Let me open my slide. Okay, I think you all can see this now. So we will be starting our session with mindfulness because since the topic is about sustainability and you're learning about the environment and how to keep the environment healthy, one important factor that comes into picture is what we call mindfulness. And when we join mindfulness and sustainability together, that becomes a very powerful combination. Now, to start with, what is mindfulness? I take a lot of sessions on this topic across Europe, and I go to different universities and I take lectures. And the first question I often hear from students is, what really is mindfulness? I know this is the need of the hour. This is one of the topics that is so much going around these days, and people really like to know what this all is about. Now, I will tell you a very small story to start with. Once Lord Buddha was sitting in his monastery. I hope and I think everyone of you knows about who Lord Buddha is. So the king from that area came and visited Lord Buddha, and he asked, Buddha, what do you do that, we don't do? So what you and your monks do in the monastery? To which Buddha replied that we sit, we eat, and we walk. I'll repeat. He said that we sit, we eat, and we walk. Now the king said, well, we also do the same. Then what makes you and your monks different from us? To which Buddha replied, when we sit, we know we are sitting. When we eat, we know we are eating. And when we walk, we know we are walking. I'll repeat these three lines again. So he said, when we sit, we know we are sitting. When we eat, we know we are eating. And when we walk, we know we are walking. In literal terms or in practical terms, I would say this is mindfulness. So when you're aware of what you're doing in the present moment, that is called mindfulness. For example, you all are here in the session at this point. But if your mind is distracted by your phone, or if you're thinking, what will I have for lunch? Or if you're thinking about, oh, today is weekend, what will I do in the evening? Or if you're thinking about tomorrow, or if you're thinking about your past or something that happened to you, if your health is not well and your mind is focused about your health, then you're not being mindful. Mindfulness is when you're 100% in that moment. So not just your eyes, as we say, sometimes we are physically present at places, but we are mentally not there. Mindfulness is being physically and mentally present at that moment and not being affected either by past or by future. This is like a practical definition of mindfulness. Now I will take you through the slides. All right. Now, what is mindfulness when I want to define it? See, mindfulness is when, as I said, when you're aware of your actions. So recognizing what you are doing at that moment. And yeah, I would say like one moment. So first thing is, of course, that your entire focus is in your present moment. After that, I would say when it is a non-judgmental observation. So when you are not judging your present moment, so that is when you don't think it is good, it is bad. So you're not giving any kind of terminology to your present moment. You're just living in that moment without actually being judgmental about you. When you're self-aware. So normally what happens is when you begin your day, how do you start? You go and you brush your teeth, then you take your breakfast, you get ready, you go for your college or you go for your work. Then you have a routine to follow the whole day. So practically we all run in an autopilot mode the whole day. Mindfulness is when we switch that gear and from the autopilot mode, we move into a self-aware mode. So now we are not doing things because we have to do them, but we are aware of every little thing that we are doing in the day. That is mindfulness. Mindfulness is also about solution planning. I will also take this part later when we discuss things in detail, but just to give you an idea that mindfulness is all about looking for solutions rather than pondering over problems. So that helps us in basically finding solutions to our problems. And then mindfulness is having a sensory control over all 5 senses of ours. So 5 senses, I mean, I'm talking of the vision, I'm talking of the smell, I'm talking of the touch, I'm talking of hearing and the taste. So when you have a good control over all your 5 senses, we call that you're being mindful. Now I will show you an image. So in this image, you see a lot of fruits. Mindfulness begins with small activities like eating, basically. So mindfulness can be as simple as just mindful eating. What happens when most of the times we eat, I think we're just having lunch or dinner or breakfast, but our mind is elsewhere. I think many of us are either watching television or we are on our phones scrolling things when we are eating. This is not mindful eating because many times you don't even realize what are the aromas or what are the flavors that you have in your food. So if you're able to identify the basic flavors of your food, this is also as simple as mindfulness. So now from today onwards, when you take your meals, maybe when you have your lunch after this session, just try to close your eyes and try to feel the flavors of your food. Try to feel what all spices do you have in your food. If you're able to relish your food, and if your mind is not distracted by anything else other than just eating, this is simply mindfulness. You're technically just practicing mindfulness by a simple act of eating. Now, when I describe that in a cycle or when in a graph, see, when I want to unveil the benefits of mindfulness. So why are we talking about mindfulness today? So what are basically the benefits of mindfulness? I've already explained you what mindfulness is, but why do you need mindfulness in your life? That could be a big question. Number one, mindfulness helps in reducing your stress levels. Since you are in the present moment and since you're not affected by your past or by your future, it helps you in calming you down. Also, there are a lot of relaxation techniques that we practice in mindfulness, and they help immensely in bringing your stress down. Number two, it enhances your emotional regulation. When I say emotional regulation, that means in controlling your temper, in controlling your anger, also in regulating your overall emotions of feeling happy, feeling joy, not feeling distracted, not being sad. This is how it helps in controlling and regulating your normal emotions. It helps improving your focus and concentration. Since you are in the present moment, and as I said, mindfulness is all about just being in that moment. If you learn the art of mindfulness, it will become very easy for you to focus at your work or to be more concentrated about your work. And if you can do that, you will always yield better results because you can always set your goals and achieve your goals better by improving your focus. Then mindfulness helps in promoting better relationships. That I mean in terms of your social relationships. Because if you can mindfully listen to people, if you can mindfully talk to people, and if you're not distracted while talking to them, that will help in improvising relationships. Also, it develops a better understanding for your relationships. Mindfulness helps in supporting environmental sustainability. Now, that is a major topic, and I will definitely discuss more in detail as we go forward. But when you're mindful about your own self, and when you also learn to get mindful about the nature around you, you help a lot in maintaining the sustainability. Then mindfulness also helps in regulating physical health. Again, we have a separate slide for this where I'm going to explain you how this goes forward and how our mental health and our physical health are connected with each other. So if you practice mindfulness, you not only take care of your mental health, but you also do enhance your and regulate your physical health. Now, the core skills of mindfulness. Mindfulness is a big term, and there are basically three elements or three core skills of mindfulness. The outer core is called the focused attention. The middle core is called open monitoring, and the center or the main core is acceptance. So we basically start with focused attention. So when you start with any mindfulness activity, you first bring your focus or you first bring your attention to that activity. Let me give you a simple example. We generally practice a lot of breathing exercise. I think you guys have, or you might have heard of a lot of breathing exercises like Anulom Vilom or, a lot of yoga techniques. So when we practice any breathing exercise, typically what we do first is we sit at a place, at a quiet place. We close our eyes. We generally listen to a very calming music. And then after closing your eyes, you focus your attention to your breathing. So you bring your entire focus only to your breathing. You don't think of anything else. You just close your eyes, bring your attention to your breathing. This is step one of mindfulness. Once you attain that, and once your entire focus is on your breathing, then we start monitoring what is going around. So we start also realizing what are emotions, what are thoughts are coming in your mind. You can practically not experience it till you don't close your eyes. So what I will ask you is just close your eyes at that moment. Try to focus on your breath, only breath. So just close your eyes, focus on your breath. Focus as you inhale, focus as you exhale your breath. When your entire focus goes on your breathing, now try to think what all thoughts are coming in your mind at this point. Do you have any emotions popping in? Do you have any anger coming in? Do you have anxiety? Are you just feeling good? Are you just relaxed? Are you just enjoying the moment? Or are you distracted by something else? Let any thought that is coming over come to you. This is called open monitoring, when we allow ourselves to think openly. And after that, the final step is accepting that. So whatever thought is coming to your mind, you don't have to reject it. Don't think it is good, it is bad. Suppose you're feeling angry, suppose you're feeling frustrated, suppose you're feeling tired. Don't try to deny that feeling. Just accept the feeling as it is. If you feel tired, just accept within your mind, I am feeling tired at this moment. And just accept and move on from there. If you feel angry, just accept, I am feeling angry. The later stage will be when you will find a solution to it. But we always start with bringing our attention to one thing, which is normally breathing. Then we experience everything around it. So we experience and monitor all our emotions around it. And finally, we accept all the emotions that are actually coming to our mind. This is a detailed explanation of the same. So in focused attention, we deliberately or consciously do a particular thing like breathing. It can also be something else like chanting. So if some of you like to chant or do any mantra japs, that is also a great way of mindfulness. So you can bring your focus to that particular thing. You are completely aware of that action. That means even so, a very common thing in mindfulness is when you sit for bringing your attention to a thing, your mind will wander off. It will go in multiple directions. So you will start focusing on your breathing and suddenly you will see that now your mind is going elsewhere. So what you have to do is you have to bring back your mind to that breathing. So you're breathing, your focus is on your breathing, but suddenly you're thinking of 100 other things. Try to bring your mind back to that breathing. That is step one. And if you are able to achieve that, you're successful with 1/3 of achieving your mindfulness. Second is open monitoring, as I explained. So when you're present, you're aware of your present moment. You're observing and you're monitoring what is going on right now at this moment, whatever emotions, whatever feelings are coming in your mind at that moment. And it is opposite of thinking about the past or future. So the difference in mindfulness and other things is when you're mindful, you're not thinking about your past, your future. You're only thinking about what is going on in your mind at this moment. And the third thing, as I said, was acceptance, which is a non-judgmental acceptance of the present moment and reality. So you don't think, if you're feeling sick, don't think it's good or bad. If you're feeling angry, don't think it's good or bad. If you're feeling happy, don't think it's good or bad. Just accept it as it is. Stop living with resistance, anger, or disappointment. So don't have hard feelings for anyone. Just be very liberal about it. Making peace with your life and focusing on solution rather than pondering over your problems. And that is what mindfulness teaches you, to focus more on solutions rather than only thinking about the problems. And using positive connotations instead of negative ones. That is what you learn with coming time. First, you accept everything. And after accepting your feeling, you try giving it a positive look. Now let's go to some daily mindfulness practices. Now, how do you practice mindfulness? So one thing is, of course, the breathing that I told you, but there are several other things in mindfulness that we can do on a daily basis. Let's say we start with eating mindfully. So that was the first thing that I told you, that you can start with just having a meal of yours. So say your lunch or your dinner mindfully. Focus on your meals and savor each bite. So today your goal should be, after this session, you enjoy your lunch. Really, so try enjoying all the flavors. Try to find out what all spices do you have. Do you have salt? Do you have pepper? Do you have chilies? Do you have paprika? Or do you have cardamom or cinnamon? Whatever you can feel, whatever flavors you can feel in your food. This is a simple act of mindfulness. Second, walking mindfully. This is also another thing that we generally recommend to everyone. So when I take my therapies, this is one of the first steps we tell to everyone who's going through stress. So try walking in nature. So walking mindfully can also be at home, but what we ideally advise is you go out in nature and you take a mindful walk. A mindful walk is, again, when you're not distracted by anything else. So you should not be listening to music. There should be no AirPods. And then you should not be talking to someone. Mindful walking is just when you're being in the nature, you enjoy the nature, you look at the plants, you look at the birds, you listen to the sounds of the bird, when you're just completely absorbed in the nature around you, and when your entire focus is just on walking and to nothing else, absolutely. So pay attention to the surrounding while walking, and not to external gadgets. So not looking at the phone and not listening to music via your AirPods, simply walking and enjoying nature. Third is journaling mindfully, which is basically what we also call mindful writing. This is another practice that we also advise people to do. So you can, for example, write a journal every day. So write down your thoughts and feelings with an intention in that journal. So you can write every day, like, I'm feeling good, or whatever you want to write about in your journal, you can practice and start with that. Another thing, you can also start writing mindfully about topics like 3 acts of kindness. You can write about 3 things that you feel good about, or do 3 acts of kindness. You can write 3 things that you feel happy about or you're grateful about. So, like every day, you can write 3 things that you're grateful about. Like, I'm grateful about the fact that I'm healthy. I'm grateful about the fact that I have lovely parents, or I have lovely partner, or I have, very good children or very good friends. So there can be 3 things that you can write about where you're being grateful. Or you can write something about your own self that you like. So this is writing mindfully, or maybe anything, right? Maybe you can write about the nature or something that you're feeling at that moment. But your whole focus should only be in writing that thing and not about anything else. Then breathing mindfully. This is the next thing. So this was what I also started with initially, that you can practice several breathing exercises. So if you already know yoga, that will be very helpful. Like, even if you don't know yoga, there are some very basic breathing exercises like Anulom Vilom, where you do an alternate nostril breathing. So you can practice any kind of breathing exercise for 5 to 10 minutes, because that helps bringing your hormones to a normal level. Then pausing mindfully. So when you're working, for example, and what we generally do, as I said, is we go in an autopilot mode. So we jump from one action to another. So you move from one activity to another. We normally don't take breaks. Mindfulness can be as simple as taking a 5 minutes break in between, when you just sit, relax. Maybe you're sipping on a cup of coffee and doing nothing else. Just take a small break from your work. That will make you recharge, and you will be able to again go back to your work with more energy if you take 5 minutes of mindful breaks. Listening mindfully. So I was talking about relationships. If you want to make your relationships better in life, one important key is practicing mindful listening. So whenever you talk to your friend the next time, or whenever you talk to your parents the next time, suppose you're living away from your family or your parents, what you can do is just give them a call and listen mindfully to what they have to say. Many times, you're talking on phone, but you're also watching TV along with it, or you're eating along with. Don't do that. Just practice one activity at one time. If you're watching TV, just watch TV. If you're eating, just eat. If you're talking to someone, just mindfully listen to that person and mindfully respond back. This is also one basic art of mindfulness. So engage fully with music and conversations. One is when you're talking to someone, and it could also be listening to music. So I told you that when you're going for a walk, don't listen to music, because then you're not doing a mindful walking. You're only doing mindful listening. So involve in one activity, or indulge in one activity at one time. If you really want to enjoy music, just put the music on and only enjoy the music. Don't do anything else. Then flowing mindfully. Flowing mindfully is flowing in any activity of your choice completely. Suppose you love dancing. Now, dancing is also a mindful activity. You can simply immerse in the joy of dancing. So if you like dancing, put the music on, dance for 5 minutes. That is also mindfulness. Suppose you love cooking. Just go to the kitchen, cook what you like to, what you really like a lot, or just cook your favorite dish. That is also mindful cooking. Suppose you love gardening. You can just go to the garden, take out your, whatever instruments you use for your garden, or you can put on new plants, just flower the plants, going around that area and gardening. That's also a great mindfulness activity. So immerse yourself in anything that you really enjoy. For example, you like going to the gym, or if you like walking or running, can be anything literally, or if you like playing guitar or any kind of a musical instrument, just make sure you give some time to your hobby and you practice that with complete non-distraction. The last thing is being kind. So mindfulness can also be something as simple as being kind to people. Suppose you're driving a car, and if you see somebody who wants to cross the street, just wait and let that person cross that street. So simple acts of kindness, just allowing people or just helping people and being kind to them. Suppose if somebody is having a bad day, just be kind to those people. Just be kind to your family members. Just be kind to your friends. Just listen to them. This is also simple mindfulness. Being forgiving. So also forgive people when they make mistakes. Just forgive them and practice gratitude every day. So as a part of your homework, this is something that I will be giving you, and I will be talking about it at the end of the session. So gratitude is one of the best ways of practicing mindfulness. So you have to show gratitude to 3 people each day, and a genuine gratitude. So it's not because I've given you a homework and you have to do it, but genuinely you have to be grateful for 3 things to 3 people each day. For example, if you think that your wife cooked great meal for you, or your husband did something great for you, or suppose you think that your mom made something really nice for you, just go hug and say a good thanks. Be grateful for even the little things that happen in your life. So 3 acts of gratitude each day can bring a lot of mindfulness and peace in your life. Okay. So that was about your daily mindfulness practices. Now, the next topic that I will cover is mindfulness and meditation. So what I often hear from students and from people around me is, what is the difference between mindfulness and meditation? Often people also confuse these 2 things together. So people don't know what is meditation, and sometimes they think, is it the same as mindfulness or is it different? Well, they are somewhat similar, but not exactly similar. Mindfulness can be either concentrated or open. So there are 2 types of mindfulness practices. One is an open practice, like how I said, you can go for a mindful walk, or you can do mindful painting, or you can do mindful dancing, or you can do mindful eating or mindful listening. But this is not a focused or concentrated mindfulness practice. A concentrated mindfulness practice is like breathing. So when you sit at one place, when you close your eyes, when you're bringing your focus to whatever is going around you, that is a concentrated mindfulness activity. But we have several other open mindfulness activities like walking and just general mindfulness practices. Meditation is a very formal practice. What I can say is concentrated mindfulness is basically a part of meditation. Meditation can be done in different ways. One is by breathing exercises and by yoga as well, which is the same in mindfulness. But you can also practice meditation by several other things, like by practicing gratitude, or by practicing, or by doing, for example, chanting, or doing mantra repetition. That's also kind of meditation. But meditation, as I said, is more of a formal practice. So for doing meditation, you need a quiet setup. But for practicing mindfulness, you typically don't need any setup. If you're just here in the class, and if you're only listening to me carefully, this is also mindfulness, but this is not meditation. For meditation, you need a formal setup. So if I explain it this way, it would be mindfulness, as I said, can either be concentrated, such as when we focus on our breath for a period of time, or it can be opened, as I said, when we go out on a walk, or when we are eating, or when we are dancing. While concentrated mindfulness practice is more likely to arise during formal meditation, where the 2 interweave seamlessly. That's what I said, that concentrated mindfulness is very much like meditation. And on the other hand, meditation is a formal practice that involves a particular training to train our attention, activate our awareness, or give rise to greater peace and clarity. And that's why you need to concentrate more when you're practicing meditation. Mindfulness is one technique that can be used in formal meditation practice, but it is certainly not the only one. So I would say mindfulness is just a small part of meditation, but there are several other techniques as well in meditation, involving mantra repetition, focused attention, loving kindness, and visualization. Visualization is, again, when you close your eyes and you visualize a particular scene, or you visualize a thing, usually from the past, or even maybe you can visualize certain good things that make you feel happy. So visualization is a journey of mindfulness, of meditation, but it is different from mindfulness in a way that it is more formal and it involves more attention and focus. If you have any questions regarding this, you can ask me towards the end of the session, when we will have the question and answer round. So this was about the difference between mindfulness and meditation, almost the same thing, just that mindfulness is more open. Now, mindfulness and sustainability. So our topic for the day, how can we bring mindfulness into sustainability? Now, till now, you must have understood, I have used this word, I think, hundreds of times by now. you know exactly what mindfulness is. So when you're mindful of your activities, of your each day activities, you can also become mindful of what you're doing to the nature. When you become aware of what you're consuming. So when you go to a grocery store, there are several things that you see in the grocery store. It depends entirely on you what you pick from there. So try to pick things that are more sustainable. Try to pick things that don't involve a lot of use of plastics. Try to use things which are more organic, which are more environmental friendly. So encouraging reflection on buying habits. So when you go to the stores, if you learn mindfulness, you can also become mindful of what you're consuming in your day-to-day life. And that has a direct impact on the nature around you. Connection to nature. Connection to nature means, as I said, mindful walking. So when you practice mindfulness, it can be as simple as just connecting with the nature around you and going for simple mindfulness walk. This is joining mindfulness and sustainability together. So it can also be gardening, so intentional living. So when you promote more gardening, when you promote planting of more trees, when you are against cutting down trees, or when you're against using excessive unnecessary paper, so using less paper, doing things that promote environmental sustainability in a mindful way is what joins the two together. So be aware of what you consume, be aware of connecting to the nature, and be aware of living a life that is very intentionally meant in a way where you can promote sustainability. Then what are mindful sustainability practices? As I said, these will involve practicing mindful eating. So choose local, organic, and seasonal foods to reduce impact. So I would say use less processed food, also good for your health. So if I talk like a doctor, I would say that if you really want to stay healthy, stay away from junk food, stay away from very oily food, stay away from processed food. Rather choose fresh food. So choose more of vegetables, fresh organic vegetables, choose more of fruits, choose what is more seasonal and what is more healthy for your body. So be very mindful of what you're eating every day, because that affects your entire health, not just physically, but also mentally. You're more of a person what you eat. So what you eat makes you what you are. So be very mindful about choosing. Second, engage in nature walks. Again, I told about this earlier to you. So go more for nature walks. So taking a 5 to 10 minutes of a nature walk. I don't know how much nature do you have in Bangalore, because we live in the Netherlands and it's all green around. So for us, nature walk is a very easy thing. I know it takes more of a thing, wherever you're living in India. So just make sure that you go out closer to trees or go out to nature, or maybe you can have a garden for yourself. Take a walk in your own garden, plant new trees, plant new flowers. So observe and appreciate everything which is like a natural beauty to inspire protection. So when you become more attached to nature, once you start going out in nature, you also start loving the nature and you start caring for nature. That helps in keeping sustainability. Then be the change to bring the change. So that's always the first step. It's always easy to teach others what to do, but I always say that be the change yourself to bring a change in other people. So start with yourself, start practicing good things, and then you will see one thing. You know, in a family, if one person starts doing one thing, the whole family follows. If one friend starts doing something, the entire friend circle follows. So if you start leading sustainable practices in your life, you will observe that you're also inspiring others and people will start following what you do. So set that example, please. After the session, I only expect from you is that you learn mindfulness, of course, but you start practicing these habits on a daily basis and you inspire others to do the same. And then inspire sustainable behavior. So exactly goes from here to there. If you start practicing things by yourself, and if you become the game changer, and if you start protecting the environment, you will definitely inspire and motivate others to do that. And that is what we expect from you. So start building smaller, healthy habits from today onwards, and you will see the difference, not in a day, but of course, it will take a month where you will see the difference in you, and also you will start observing difference in people around you. So first, bring the change and then inspire others to bring that sustainable behavior so that it also helps them in building sustainability. Okay, now, since I'm a doctor, this is one of the things I talk a lot about. Psychosomatic diseases and the role of mindfulness in healing them. So, when we started the session, I said that your mental health and your mindfulness are also connected to your physical body. So, why is it important to actually practice mindfulness? It's not just for your mental health, but also your physical health. So, as a doctor, I would say there are certain diseases called psychosomatic diseases. Basically, psycho means your mind and somatic means your body. So, diseases that go from your mind to your body, or diseases that develop in your mind and then come down to your body, are psychosomatic diseases. In today's world, I would say 80% of the diseases that people have are psychosomatic. So, basically, everything is actually originating in your head. And because your mind is not well, and that's why your body follows, and the body falls sick. So, what are the basic psychosomatic diseases that we often see these days? Number one, repressed anger. So, when you have a lot of repressed anger within you, so when you suppress anger, when you're not able to release your anger in the right way, it leads to physical diseases like tension headaches. And that's why we say that tension headaches are nothing else but because of excessive stress. So when you have a lot of anger suppressed or a lot of your emotions suppressed, it brings on a lot of tension headaches. Migraines. Migraines are also not a physical problem. I know in this world of today, because I deal with a lot of patients suffering from headaches and migraines, and most of them technically have nothing to do with your physical body. It's just your mind which is leading to these kind of problems. Chronic back pain or any kind of muscle pains. If you experience a lot of muscle pains in your body, that is technically nothing else but a lot of stress. And I will come to that part later as well. I will explain how stress brings these things in your body. So if you experience any kind of, like having muscle pains or having a lot of neck issues, because these are also very common these days, people having a lot of neck stiffness, a lot of muscle stiffness, a lot of pain in their lower back or upper back, this is also nothing else but just stress in your body, which is developing in your mind and then transferring to your body. Fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a condition where you have pain in different parts of the body all the time. Fibromyalgia is also a psychosomatic disease. So basically not a disease in the body, but something that originated in your mind. So something which is, so when you're too stressed or when you're too anxious, you develop headaches, you develop migraines, you develop backaches, you develop myalgic pains, you develop fibromyalgias. Then anger. So again, people who are angry, you must have seen they have high blood pressure. So anger is directly, so your emotions are directly connected to your physical body. So if you have too much of anger, you would have seen that your blood pressure rises. In your family, I'm sure everyone might have seen that. So when someone is very angry, you're fuming with anger, what happens is your cortisol goes up and your adrenaline goes up. And that makes your blood pressure really high. Mindfulness teaches you to relax. It teaches you to calm down and technically help lower down your blood pressure. Also, a lot of heart diseases. So, your emotions and your anger are also related to heart diseases, because a higher blood pressure is directly related to cardiac diseases. So, if you have a higher blood pressure for a long run, you're more prone to heart diseases. And that's why the most efficient way to deal with it is practicing mindfulness and also taking care of the nature around you. So if you take nature walks, for example, that's very good for your heart, not just for the physical self, but also for your mind and your overall health. Third, resentment. Resentment is when you keep your feelings within, and when you have a lot of suppressed feelings, it can lead to a lot of autoimmune disorders. So autoimmune disorders are when your body is fighting within your own self. So your body starts fighting against its own immunity and you start developing disorders out of it. They are all stress related. Rheumatoid arthritis. So you might also have seen a lot of people in your family suffering through arthritis. To say rheumatoid arthritis is also a psychosomatic disease. So it actually starts from stress. Lupus, and then multiple sclerosis. These are big names. I know, big diseases, but they're just examples that many nerve related diseases and many heart related diseases and many joint related diseases, they also arise basically from your emotions. So if you learn to regulate your emotions well, if you learn how to relax yourself well, you can avoid these diseases Number two, even if you have these diseases, you can have a good control over them without medication. Last, anxiety, which is the most common of all. And this is one of the things we see in even young children these days. So I see a lot of patients who come with anxiety disorders. Anxiety is a bit different from stress. So stress is what you have in your day-to-day life. Stress can also be healthy or unhealthy. Normal stress is completely normal, which I mean, like, having a normal stress is very important in your life. If you don't have stress, you will not function and you will not be able to do your regular things. If you don't have the stress of completing an assignment, you will never do it. You will never finish it. What is bad is excessive stress. So if you have stress for a very long time, or if you have stress in too much quantity, I would say, so when stress is too much or when it is for a very long time, it leads to anxiety. Anxiety people have like in forms of anxiety attacks. Sometimes you can just feel anxiety for a while where you feel that you're having a palpitation, you're feeling nervous, you're sweating, you feel acidity, you feel you're not well. Anxiety is something that's coming from your mind, and anxiety leads to a lot of physical diseases in your body. First one is all kind of stomach upsets and irritable bowel syndrome. IBS is a very big term, but any kind of your stomach related issues or your bowel related issues are many times related with anxiety. And you will see if you have anxiety in a particular day, you will start with acid reflux. You will start with hyperacidity. So hyperacidity is another thing which is directly related with anxiety. If you can control your anxiety with mindfulness, you would not need any medication to treat your acid reflux or your hyperacidity. If you have an irritable bowel syndrome, again, you will not need medication to lower down your pain of your bowels, but you can just practice mindfulness to calm that down. Mitral valve prolapse or heart palpitation, these are the things that are related with anxiety. Also, as I said, muscle pains. If you have a lot of anxiety, you will experience within 2 or 3 days, you start feeling a lot of muscle pain in your body. So if you have a lot of neck stiffness or you're experiencing a lot of stomach upset, these two things are directly related with your anxiety in the body and with your emotions. So rather than only switching to medication, you can just practice mindfulness to bring ease to your body. So this is how they are connected, and I will go further and I will also explain why this all happens in your body. Okay, now this is the most important part of my session, happiness hormones. So I have talked a lot about practicing mindfulness and things. Now I will tell you some easy things because I've been talking about the medical part of your physical and mental diseases. Happiness hormones, so your body technically has got 4 happiness hormones. This is in a layman term that I'm explaining it as. So these are hormones that help make you feel happy. So when you're too stressed, number one, of course, you're practicing mindfulness, but there are 4 hormones that can help you aid this process. Which are these 4 hormones? And these are like your best pets, these are your stress busters in easy language. One is dopamine, second one is oxytocin, third one is serotonin, and fourth one is endorphin. Dopamine is a hormone that is released in your body. We call it the achievement hormone when you achieve something. So you must have felt that when you achieve a goal, for example, if your teacher gave you an assignment and you finished it, or for example, if you won a race or you won a competition, you feel very good after that. That feeling of happiness after you achieve something is because of this hormone called dopamine. This is one of the best happiness hormones that we have in our body. So when you're going through stress, what you can do is involve in an activity that brings in or that kicks in dopamine in your body. Simple things could be, as I said, it's achievement related. So set up small goals. So for example, set a goal for yourself that I will take a 10 minutes walk every day in the nature. You will see that if you follow this for 1 month, at the end of 1 month, you will have a feeling of satisfaction and happiness that, oh, I completed this target. So set small goals for yourself each day, fulfill them, achieve them, and you will feel very happy. We also observe that people who do not have goals in their life are more depressed. It's because they lack dopamine. So set goals every day in your life to feel happy. Second is oxytocin. Oxytocin is the touch hormone. This is the hormone that is released in your body when you touch someone. And in India, we also say like, jadoo ka chappi. So we say there's when you hug someone for more than 30 seconds, you feel good. It's because you are releasing oxytocin in the body. So basically, hugs have to do a lot with it. So when you touch someone, when you pet, if you have a pet, and when you pet your dog, and when you hug your child, why do we feel happy when we hug little children? It's because we are releasing oxytocin in the body. So again, if you're feeling very low, just go and hug your friend, hug your parents, hug your children, hug your partner, and hug for minimum 30 seconds. You will see that there is something that happens in your body and suddenly you feel good about it. That's because you're releasing oxytocin in the body. Third is serotonin. Serotonin is the mood hormone of your body. So the hormone that determines your mood. You can enhance serotonin levels by practicing kindness, by practicing gratitude, by practicing appreciation. And that's why I said this is a homework that I'm going to give you after the session. So when you are kind to people, when you appreciate other people, when you're grateful to people, I would say you start giving a lot of serotonin to your body. Also, when you practice yoga, that is also when a lot of serotonin is flowing in your body. And that's why we practice these kind of things. Last one is endorphin. Endorphin is secreted in your body. This is as such called the happy hormone, and it is secreted in your body when you're involved in physical activities. Example, when you're going out for a walk, or when you go to the gym, or when you dance, or whenever there's any physical activity involved, even when you're laughing. So you might have seen laughter clubs in India where people go to a park. You will see elderly people in a park and they start laughing for no reason. One will laugh and the others will follow. The reason is when you laugh, it releases endorphin in your body, which is a happy hormone, and it just makes you feel good. Even if it is a fake laugh, doesn't matter. After a while, you will actually start laughing. And that's why smiling and laughing are said to make you happy, because they release endorphin in your body. So this is a technical explanation. How can you help release endorphin in your body? So these are the things you can practice in your day-to-day life. Number one, exercising. Hit the gym if you're a gym person. If you're a person who likes running, just go out for running. If you like cycling, just take your cycle and go out cycling. If you like dancing, just go out and start dancing. If you like doing yoga, practice yoga. Just laughing, as I said, sometimes laughing without a reason. Of course, not in front of everyone, maybe by yourself. Meditating. Taking a long warm shower. So even this is the last thing that I always say, if you're feeling too low, just take a long warm shower. But that I'm saying in terms of possibly a Dutch context, because we have 10 months of winters here. So for us, a warm shower is the thing that really makes us happy. I know in India, possibly this might not work out if the weather is too warm for you. So then maybe a cold shower might work for you. But having a good shower also makes you feel happy because it releases endorphin in your body. Second, dopamine, as I was telling. How can you practice that? Accomplishment, reward, or praise. So set new goals for yourself. Pursue your hobbies. So if you like painting, then that is one of the best ways of releasing dopamine in your body. Just take a canvas, start painting something new. So complete a painting, say in a month, or say complete a painting in 5 days. You will feel very happy about it. Shopping and eating chocolates. So again, these are two simple things that also make you feel good for this reason. And possibly now you would understand why people feel good after shopping, because it releases dopamine in their body. Why do you feel good after eating chocolate? So sometimes when people are too stressed, we say, just have a chocolate. So having chocolates or sweets also releases dopamine in your body, and that's a happy hormone. The other two, serotonin. So as I said, any kind of kindness act or practicing gratitude and appreciation releases serotonin in your body. Helping others, donating things, and acts of charity. And here I mean acts of charity which are not for show off, but which you do by heart. So when you do anonymous charity, or when you just go out, and if you see poor people outside and you just feel like helping them, it could be as simple as just offering a meal to somebody who cannot afford a meal. It can just be as simple as offering a blanket to somebody who's out in cold and cannot afford a blanket. So simple acts of charity also bring serotonin in your body, and they always make you feel good. Last one, oxytocin, which is your touch hormone. So good and happy touch by loved ones. As I said, just go and hug someone tight for 30 seconds. You will start feeling good. Shaking hands, patting the back. And that's when we say, when you meet friends and you pat the bag, or when you shake hands, this is why you feel good. And playing with and touching pets. So if you have pets at home, just go and pet them more often. Pet them for 15 minutes, play with them for 15 minutes. You will feel very energetic and relaxed. And generally, that's also another thing, that if you have a lot of stress, especially in the Netherlands, we say that you keep a pet. So if you have a pet at home, generally, because it's a big stress buster, because you're touching your pet most of the times, and that releases a lot of oxytocin in your body. So these are the 4 hormones that you typically require. I will repeat. They are endorphin, oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine. So make sure you have a good flow of these hormones in your body every day. This will keep you stress-free. Now I'll go to the bad ones. So these were the good ones. Now let me go to the bad ones. Now there are 2 major stress hormones. Of course, there are more as well, but I will be talking about 2 major ones. One is cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone that is secreted in your body, and that's essential for your body, because that is what makes you alert and ready to face any kind of a threat. And in your everyday life, you need a little cortisol to keep up with your activities. If you don't have cortisol, you will never be able to finish your goals. But you should keep the things in control and in balance. If cortisol is too much in your body, so if it is secreted a lot in your body, or if cortisol is in your body for a very longer time, it can lead to a lot of problems. So when I was talking of psychosomatic diseases, it's because of this hormone cortisol. So when you have cortisol flowing in your blood for a very long time, it leads to all psychosomatic diseases. So practically what you have to learn is bringing this down. I'm not saying you should have 0 cortisol. Of course not. You cannot function without this hormone in your body. This is an essential hormone, but you need to keep it in limits. And that is why I said take small walks, take small breaks, because when you're taking breaks, you're taking a break from your stress. When you're practicing a breathing exercise, you're taking a break from your cortisol. You're giving it a lower dip. So make sure this hormone doesn't go in excess in your body, because it increases in any kind of a stress reaction. So cortisol is what happens when you're sick. So when you're sick, then also your body releases cortisol. But if you're sick for a very long time, again, you have cortisol for a long period of time. And that's why take medication to support your sickness. And along with that, also practice mindfulness. Another hormone is adrenaline. Adrenaline, you might have heard, adrenaline is the fight or the flight hormone. So it is released in your body. Suppose you see a danger. Suppose if a dog is running after you, what happens? You start running even faster than the dog. It's because of the hormone adrenaline. So adrenaline pumps in your body to put you in a fight or flight response. Either you will fly away, you will just go away from that place, or you will fight the situation. For both of these situations, you need the hormone adrenaline. So it is required for your normal day-to-day activities. But again, you should not have too much of adrenaline and too much of adrenaline and cortisol in your body for a longer time. This is what stress hormones do to your body. They increase your heart rate, they increase your blood sugar levels, they increase the blood pressure in your arteries, so typically high BP. They cause your intestinal muscles to relax. And that's why when you have too much of stress in your body, you have all the gut issues. Now, everything is related if you see from here. So when you have too much of stress hormones, your intestinal muscles relax. And because of that, your stomach and your intestines are not able to work properly. And you go through all kind of stomach upsets and all kind of stomach issues. Your pupils dilate, so your eyes go big when you have a lot of stress hormones. That's when you're actually running or when you're fighting something. Your breathing rate increases. So you start panting because your body has to fight that stress off. And your blood flow to your skeletal muscles increases, because since you're in the fight or flight mode, you need more muscular power. A lot of your energy goes into your muscles. And this is also one reason why you feel fatigued or you feel tired or why you have these neck and shoulder pains from stress, because your body is putting in a lot of cortisol and it's giving a lot of blood flow to the skeletal muscles. For a short time, it's good. For a short time, it's good when you hit the gym. But again, the same happens if suppose you go to the gym, and if you're in the gym for 1 hour, suddenly if you have never been to the gym, and if it's your first day in the gym, if you gym for 1 hour, what happens at the end? After 2 or 3 hours, your body starts feeling very fatigued, because a lot of blood has gone into that and a lot of lactic acid is produced, which leads to a delayed onset of pain in your body. It's because you're having a lot of cortisol. Again, the same is, it's not just the gym. So, and that's why people say that you should do 1 hour of gym and then take rest for 1 day. So you let your body heal. You let your cortisol and adrenaline hormones come down to a normal level. And then again, you hit the gym the next day after a period of rest. And once you do that for a number of days, your body gets adjusted to it. But if you give undue stress to your body for a very long period of time, you have cortisol and adrenaline for a very long period of time. And that's not healthy. I hope also you might have understood how psychosomatic diseases work and how your stresses, so how your mental stress actually leads to physical issues in your body. So the agenda is you have to stay away from excessive levels of adrenaline and cortisol, and rather you have to focus on increasing your happy hormones. So have more of dopamine, more of endorphin, more of serotonin, and more of, which was the fourth one? I forgot. Oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, and which was the fourth one? Oh, here. Oh, I said all four. Endorphin, serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. That was. So make sure you have all the four good hormones in your body and stay away from these two stress hormones. And now the pathways to enhanced well-being. So our final thing. So we have, of course, talked about a lot of things. So what you will be practicing and what is your takeaway from the session? So this is what you require. Number one, physical activity. So from today, start practicing some sort of a physical activity. As I said, it can be a 10 minutes of nature walk, 10 to 30 minutes of nature walk each day. It could be going to the gym. It could be dancing. It could be just walking. It could be anything that makes you feel happy, any kind of physical activity. Second, sleep and all kind of mindfulness activities. So sleep is a very important thing for bringing good mental and physical health. So make sure you do some physical activity each day. Make sure you have 8 hours of adequate sleep each day. People who sleep 4 to 6 hours are generally not that mindful. Also, they're not that healthy because, again, if you don't sleep enough, you have higher levels of cortisol in body. Make sure you sleep 7 to 8 hours minimum each day and practice other mindful activities like mindful breathing, mindful listening, mindful eating, mindful walking, mindful writing. There are several things. Third, nutrition. Eat healthy. Don't eat junk foods, eat a balanced meal. So I would not say go for a diet, but eat a balanced meal. Take proper nutrition, take more organic foods, take more sustainable things which are good for the environment. So eat more healthy food, eat less processed food. Next, fourth, work-life balance. Take pauses from work. Don't work too much. Keep a balance. So if you're working, say, from 9 to 6 or 9 to 7, make sure you also give the rest of the time for your own self. Have some me time. If you're watching television, that's okay. Give some time to your family. Keep a good work-life balance. That's very important for your physical and mental well-being. Have social connections and practice kindness and gratitude. Again, social interaction is very important to keep you happy. People who have a lot of friends tend to have more levels or higher levels of happiness. So socially interact, keep friends, keep social connections, go out, meet people. And along with that, practice kindness and gratitude. As I said, so now your homework for the day is you have to practice 3 acts of kindness and 3 acts of gratitude for the next coming 1 week. So you have to be grateful to 3 people each day. And today after the session, you have the entire day with you. So in 24 hours, you have to thank minimum 3 people for the good things they have done in your life. And as I said, it could be a genuine act of gratitude in a very small way. So even if someone has cooked some good food, just go and say thank you. Suppose you like something or your teacher has really taught you well, just go and say thank you. Suppose your friend helped you with an assignment, just go and say a special thank you. And 3 acts of kindness. So again, can be small acts of kindness. So if you see somebody who is sick, just go and help. If you see somebody who's struggling, just be kind to that person. So 3 acts of kindness and 3 acts of gratitude are a part of your homework today. And you will see a major change if you practice this at least for a week. You will see a big change in yourself because you will be releasing a lot of serotonin hormone if you do this. Last and the most important one, environmental sustainability. So if you really want to have a good life, and if you want to have good health physically and mentally, it's important that you connect yourself to the nature, and you say sustainable, because if you have a lot of climate changes, that only brings on stress, and this is all interconnected. If you are mindful of the nature will be mindful of you. If you're not mindful of the nature, the nature will only give you catastrophes. So if you really want to avoid that, again, because we don't have too much of greenery around in the Netherlands, we believe a lot in environmental sustainability, and we really practice that a lot. Each household has a lot of greenery around. So we plant a lot of trees. Even I'm a big plant lover, so I will make sure that every autumn I plant a lot of tulip bulbs and a lot of flowers in my house. So our house is full of flowers, because as I said, we have 8 to 10 months of cold weather, and it's very dark. We don't have sun. So what keeps us happy is this nature around, because we believe in sustainability. So connect yourself with nature, practice sustainable habits, and you will see an overall effect on your overall well-being. This was my session for the day. Thank you very much. It was lovely having you all,
Ma'am?
and I hope you're not sleeping.
No, ma'am. It was actually indeed a very insightful session for us. Ma'am, the participants are having some questions.
Yes, sure.
So, ma'am, there is a question uh, written by someone that he came to know that there are some vegetables who possess
Yeah.
positive vibrations, such as ladyfinger, pumpkin, snake gourd, etc., and some with negative vibrations, onion, garlic, chili, and some with neutral vibrations. Is it true?
Well, see, it depends on the way you think, because see, vibrations are something like we do believe. So in psychology, we do believe in this. And that's why even in India, as we say, some foods are sattvic and some are tamasic. So onion and garlic fall into the category of, I would say, yeah, rajasic or tamasic. Not tamasic technically, but rajasic. So yes, you can say that some vegetables have a higher vibration. I wouldn't call it a positive or a negative one, but I would say that some vegetables do have a vibration that can lift your energy up, and some have a vibration that can make you more angry. I wouldn't call it a very negative vibration, but yes, it does have effect on your body. So if you eat certain vegetables, and that's why, yes, that's correct, if you eat more of green vegetables, you will have a flow of, yeah, better vibrations in your body. And yes, onion and garlic can affect you a bit negatively. It has a relationship with your anger, to say in specific. So some sattvic vegetables, as they're called in India, can bring more sattvic changes to your body, and the others can possibly bring that rajasic changes to your body. So that is indeed true.
Ma'am, there is another question.
Yeah.
What about adrenaline and non-adrenaline?
Okay,
How
so
to manage its rush?
how to manage the?
Yes, ma'am. How to manage adrenaline and non-adrenaline rush?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So adrenaline is kicked in your body when there's a flight or a fight response. So that is when you're involved in sudden acts of stress. How do you manage? Simply by practicing mindfulness. So they are kicked in your body because you're in stress. So you have to de-stress yourself to keep them in balance. So practicing mindfulness activities will help you bring them down. Does
Okay,
this answer?
ma'am.
Is there any
So,
other question related to this?
uh, okay, so ma'am, my question is, all
Yeah.
are in PhD, and we have an age issue, especially the females one. How do
Yeah.
we manage the biological clock and the career clock simultaneously without feeling too much stressed about our life? And
Okay. So do you mean dealing with your day-to-day routine, or like a cycle in terms of, do you mean like your, like the working hours is what you're referring to, or what do you exactly mean by that?
ma'am, I mean by that the biological clock and the career clock are not in sync. So how do we manage it and work efficiently in both the
So
aspects of our life?
So it's you technically need to condition yourself accordingly. So your biological clock is the way you can always change it. So your biological clock, suppose if somebody is working in a night shift and the person every day sleeps at, say 2 o'clock in the afternoon and wakes up at 8 o'clock in the night and has to go for a night shift, or say sleeps at 12 o'clock in at noon and wakes up at 8 o'clock, your biological cycle will be set accordingly. The first rule is maintain regularity. So your biological clock and you're saying your career clock, so you have to make a balance over there. So suppose make your working timings accordingly. So if you know that you have to work between a particular period of time, there's no problem in that. Your body will adjust to it. The only thing is the other way around. When you keep your sleep cycle, you have to keep that intact. Sleep at the same time and wake up at the same time. It really doesn't matter. See, according to the old traditions and also according to the way nature works, ideally you should sleep by 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the night, and you should wake up by 7 o'clock. For certain people, it might not work. So even if you're sleeping later, the point is give yourself 8 hours of sleep and maintain the same rhythm. Your biological clock works on same rhythm. So follow that same rhythm. That is very important. And you have to balance everything accordingly. Another important tip that I would give you is keep an agenda or a diary. So if you have too many things to complete in your day-to-day life, keep a diary and keep a record of everything you have to do in that particular day. Put a tick when you finish that task. This way you can bring your stress down, and also you can finish task and keep a track of things, and you don't carry anything for the next day too much. So thing is regularity and keeping a rhythm in an everyday life. So do things at the same time each day. Trying doing it. I know with a career, it's not easy. Sometimes things are uncalled and they can suddenly pop up, but that's a one-off thing. On a routine basis, take your meals on time at the same time. So have your fixed time for lunch, have your fixed time for dinner, and fixed time for breakfast, and a fixed time for your sleep.
Okay,
Does
ma'am.
that help?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there is another question. Uh, what uh, what are some stress relieving food?
Okay, what are some stress relieving foods? But I would say every food that you eat with a good intention is stress relieving. So I would not categorize a food in terms of stress relieving foods. Organic foods, of course. So don't eat processed foods. The first thing I say is don't eat oily junk processed foods. No burgers, no pizzas. They are not the ones who are going to bring any good energy. Anything which is freshly cooked, anything which is fresh from the market, which is organic technically, or whatever, any fresh vegetables or fresh fruits. Eat a lot of fruits and eat freshly cooked meals. Eat less food from outside. Don't eat processed and oily foods.
Ma'am, there is another question. Can change in the environment cause autism spectrum disorder, ASD?
Oh, well, of course it can. It can. Everything is related with your nature. So if the vibrations in the nature changes, or if the environment changes, it can bring that also. Also, a lot of ADD that you see these days is also because of that. So if you don't take care of the environment will get it back to you, will give it back to you. So of course that is possible.
Ma'am, there is a question.
Yeah.
Is it cardian rhythm to bring mindfulness?
Is it the rhythm to bring your mindfulness? See, mindfulness can bring that to you actually. Mindfulness brings that rhythm to your body technically. It's not the rhythm that's bringing mindfulness to you. I hope you
Okay,
got the
ma'am.
point.
Yes, ma'am. Dear participants, if you have any more question, you can unmute yourself and ask ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I do have a question. Ma'am,
Yes,
there
please.
are some disorders
Yeah.
which do affect, like bulging out too much kids these days due to the unhealthy eating habits of parents, when that passes on in their genes and it actually somehow mutates them, as far as I have read. So, ma'am, they do bulge out, and that causes a very big mental stress in them. When they look out, come to the world, they are being body shamed, and like how these people should manage their thing, and make sure that they live a very healthy lifestyle, because kids nowadays at a larger means at large
Yeah.
are facing it, and India is considered to be a obese nation nowadays.
Yeah, see, and that's a very, very practical problem that you're talking about. You're talking of bloating and obesity. in the current generation. And the reason I'll tell you is, I shouldn't say, but this is all thanks to Swiggy and Zomato. So if Swiggy, Zomato, and Blinkit, so that's what even I experience when I come to India, that every time people are ordering food at any point of the day, technically you have to practice healthy eating habits. So you have to make sure you don't eat a lot of food from outside, and you eat at regular times and a proper balanced meal. And suppose if you have developed an issue of bloating, as you're saying, it can pass in genes. Well, that's secondary thing. I would say more than genes, it's a personal thing. So if you change your eating habits and if you start practicing healthy eating habits, you will see a major change in this. And of course, obesity has something to do with the culture around, because people don't look with good eyes. So building confidence within you. So first, working on yourself. I always say you don't have to go on a diet, but you can always go on a healthy diet. So if you're dealing with any kind of obesity or bloating issues, start practicing a healthy diet and go on a longer run, something that you can sustain for a long time. So start, as I said, stop eating sugar or sweet things, stop eating oily foods, switch to a very healthy meal and continue that for a long time. And then train your brain in a way that you're less affected by people. See, people have a problem even with thin and even with thick. They have a problem with somebody who is fat and somebody who's also thin. So I think it's all about what we think about ourselves. So the most important thing is feel confident about the way you are. If you feel healthy, it should not matter what others think of you. That's what we technically do in the Netherlands. So we have all sizes of people here. And yes, you can feel about when people body shame you, but it's more how you train yourself. If you think and if you feel confident enough that I am good enough, that's the line. If you say to yourself, I am good enough, it will really not matter what people say to you. So develop that. If you're dealing with those kind of issues, go to a mirror and to yourself, talk each day for 5 minutes. Repeat this line, I am good enough. Look into your eyes in the mirror and say to yourself, I am good enough 5 times. This will build your confidence and this will condition you where you will start feeling good about yourself. So the problem is obesity is not just in your physical self, it's also here. So cut down on all processed foods, go to healthy eating habits, and then train this mind to say that you're actually good enough.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
in United States of America, nowadays people are practicing yoga a lot. But
Yes.
conversely, what has happened, Indian culture, they are moving more towards the gym culture. So they're preferring gym over yoga. So,
Yeah.
ma'am, what are the means? Why should we prefer yoga over gym? And what are the cons of gym? And what are the pros of gym?
Okay, see, both are beneficial in their own ways. I'm not against gyms, and I'm definitely a pro yoga person because I practice yoga myself. But I'm also a person who goes to the gym. So I think you need a balance in life. Gym also has certain good effects. So yoga also involves mindfulness practices along with it and meditation along with. So yoga will, if I talk of hormones that I was talking about, if you practice yoga, you will secrete endorphin and serotonin, two hormones in your body. If you practice or if you go to a gym, you're putting in a lot of endorphin in your body, but there's no serotonin because you're not doing anything good. You're only doing good to yourself. So gym is also beneficial if you're not a person who likes yoga typically. If you are a person who likes going to the gym or meeting people in the gym, or some people like strength training also for certain things, I would say, like if you have a lot of muscle issues, either yoga can help, but gym can also equally help you if you do some kind of strength training. But don't do it because other people are doing it. So the point is, what I have observed, that everything follows like a rat race. So like in the Western culture these days, and whether you talk of US or Europe, yoga has become very popular because it's like a show off thing. So don't do anything because others are doing it or because it's a show off. Whether you practice yoga or you go to the gym, it should be for your own self. So if you're doing for your own good health, everything is fine. Don't go in a rat race. Both are beneficial.
Okay, ma'am.
Does that answer enough, or do you have a further question to it?
Ma'am, this much questions we had. Dear participants, any more questions from your side? Anyone?
And also, please don't practice mindfulness because I'm asking you to. So the most important thing is you should only do things that you feel like. So you have to change yourself from within to practice something. And make sure you have your lunch very mindfully today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an insightful session. Dear participants, our second session would start at 2:15. So kindly join via the same link.
Okay,
Thank
thank you
you so
very
much, ma'am.
much. Thank you. It was indeed a pleasure
Have a
having
good
you
day,
all.
ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.